I've taken probably 2,000 pictures of whiskey bottles, but this was the first time that my hands shook when taking a picture of a bottle. When you look at this bottle up close, when you hold it, one gets a sense of time and of history. And it's no coincidence that that was the first moment that I began to question the wisdom of this series. But I came up with four destinies for this bottle. One would be it would wind up in somebody's collection where it could be stared at indefinitely, or it could wind up in someone's collection where it's going to be stored in the dark indefinitely. Or it can be opened up and consumed in private, or one could share one's experience of it. If there's anything that we do right online, it's that we share our experiences. With that in mind, let's get this started. To keep it brief, I've seen this black and white label style in print advertisements between 1951 and 1966. And as usual, I'm going to play it safe here and say that this is from the 1960s. It's easier to get a date on the older bottle. The bottle has a 1947 additional liquor tax stamp. This was literally an additional liquor tax applied to this whiskey. At the top of the federal tax stamp, there is an eagle. At the eagle's feet, there are no numbers listed. In 1944 and after, the numbers 111 or 112 were listed. So this is from before 1944. The bottle does have its original Wisconsin state tax stamp. This style of stamp, with its purple color, the positioning of the state of Wisconsin, and the red numbers, was used only in 1941. So this whiskey was bottled in 1941. First, I'm going to open up the sparring partner. I'd like to open this up without doing too much damage to the bottle. It does have a spring top closure, so I'm hoping that'll make this easy, but I have no idea. It doesn't want to get itself opened. I'm actually going to switch these because I'm going to start with the more recent black and white, the 60s. There's diesel, garage, there's hay, green grapes, and white nectarines, damp, mossy tree bark. As this opens up, there's a beautiful burst of butterscotch on the nose. It definitely gets more desserty on the nose with time. It's loaded with apple cider, honeydew, a little bit of that garage or machine shop note, fried plantains, copper. There is definitely peat in here. Palo Santo, whether it's fruits fermenting or, a barley mash fermenting, there's definitely this funky, yeasty note that floats through this. Some of those ancient notes strip away, leaving behind a field of wildflowers in the spring. Cheers. There's an herbal bitterness to go with a little bit of caramel sauce. Yeah, it is kind of a dessert whiskey. It's very creamy, lightly sweet. There is sort of an apricot note has almost this wheat beer kind of sweetness to it. And the bitterness, which goes through the finish, isn't like a woody bitterness. It's a very fresh, almost Campari like bitterness. L'chaim. It tastes old. It's dusty without being musty. Old books, lots of old books. If you could like distill your great grandfather's books, that's what it tastes like. But there's also fresh herbs. Think of fresh ginger, peppery mint. I get more and more like toasted barley and toasted seeds and toasted nuts. There's a little bit of subtle wood smoke floating through it. It's lightly sweet. It has sort of a tangy citrus thing going on in the finish. Pineapple juice sweetness that works somehow with the old book note. There is a significant difference between these two whiskeys. I don't know if the recipe had changed or if the characteristics changed in the bottle, whether it was sitting in a bottle for 55, 60 years or sitting in a bottle for nearly 80 years. Both had excellent fill levels, both were sealed very, very well. Thing is, they're both really good. They are probably my two favorite from the entire string of black and whites I've had this month. This one is very drinkable, pleasurable, not super complex, but just really good. Our friend here carries with it the weight of time in the nose and the palate, especially in the palate. This is funkier, heavier, a little peatier than any of the other black and whites I've had this month, and definitely the most complex black and white I've ever had. My older daughter will not be calling for me this time. She is out swimming on this last day of summer. So I'm just going to pour the remainder of these two bottles and enjoy the rest. And thank you for spending your time with me.